Hi, I'm Jim Meehan, bar director of Takibi, a restaurant partnership between Snow Peak and Submarine Hospitality that'll be opening up sometime soon, hopefully in Portland, Oregon. In the meantime, I'm here to show you guys some of the drinks that I'd like to make you and that I think are simple enough for you to make yourselves. It's around 50 degrees tonight in Portland, Oregon, and even though it's April, it's still toddy weather in my opinion. And so I'm going to make you a hot toddy. I'm going to show you how you can make any hot toddy. But I'm going to show you a really special one that came about in a really cool way that illustrates how I want to build community here in Portland. Lauren Purvis, who has a Japanese tea company here in Portland, saw our first video and brought by some of her teas for me to check out, one of which is a Chamomile Houjicha Tea. Houjicha is a sort of earthy Japanese tea that she's added these beautiful chamomile blossoms that not only lowers the caffeine level of this tea, but adds some amazing aromatics, some high tones that balance out the low tones of the Houjicha. So I'm going to make a toddy with that, and to balance it, I'm going to use my other Portland friend Ted Seastat's Ransom Old Tom Gin. The botanicals in the Ransom Old Tom Gin are going to work beautifully with the earthy and floral aromas here in this tea. And then to sweeten the mixture, we have Jacobsen's carrot flower honey, which I've created a honey syrup with. For any of you who have ever tried to mix with the raw honeys, they're really viscous and hard to get into solution. So I've already diluted that 2 parts to 1. Any great tea company will have the recipe for their teas, usually right on the back of the bag. So I've measured out 5 grams of the tea, which I'm gonna add to my French press. It recommends water around 195 degrees, so not quite boiling. So I have a cup of 195 degree water, which I'm going to add to the French press. Obviously French presses are famous for coffee, but I like using them to make tea as well because the extra space gives the leaves plenty of room to expand and to extract. Lauren has recommended a 2 to 4 minute brew time. I'm going to go with the 2-minute brew time and talk about what I'm doing here while we're waiting for the tea to brew. One thing to think about anytime you're making tea and coffee is the biggest factor is leaf to water ratio. So you want to measure out your tea, you want to make sure you're using water at the right temperature and measure that, and then you want to measure the extraction time so you kind of get that perfect synthesis. As I mentioned before, the honey has already been diluted, 2 parts honey by weight to 1 part water. I'm going to make the toddy. I think it's important when you're making a hot toddy to think about heat. This is a double wall stainless steel mug, around 8 ounces. I want a smaller cup. So I'm going to add 15 mils of the honey syrup. And then I'm going to add around 45 mils of the gin, so that's 30 is to 30 mil measure, so 1.5. And then the other consideration when you're making toddies that I was thinking about, in addition to making sure that you're mixing it in a tempered glass or a double-walled glass that is made to hold hot liquid so it doesn't burn your hand, or worse, if it's a glass that's not tempered, it could break the glass. One of the things that a lot of people don't know about hot drinks with alcohol, they know but they probably don't think about, is that because alcohol has a lower boiling point than water, when you add hot water to anything with alcohol, the first thing that comes up is not the water, or in the case the tea aroma, but the alcohol. So any drink that you make with a hot liquid and alcohol is going to smell like a distillery. So one of the key considerations when you're making a toddy or an Irish coffee or anything with a hot liquid and alcohol is to use something that covers the top of the drink to prevent those vapors from coming off and discouraging the person who has ordered it from even taking a sip of it because it smells too strong. So I'm going to add, not the whole amount, I'm going to add 5 ounces of the tea to this. Most of it will go in the cup, reserving a little bit to sip. All right, and then as I said, so to stop this from smelling so strong, I'm gonna add the lemon wheel to the top, which will cover that up. Some people, when they make a hot whiskey in Ireland, maybe will add cloves. Others will add a dusting of nutmeg to this, but I think that the aroma from the amazing Mizuba tea and the botanicals from Ransom Gin and the nuances from that carrot flower honey make it something that I'm just trying to cover up with the lemon to stop the vapors, not trying to get rid of the beautiful aroma from coming up. So this is my Takibi Toddy for your Takibi time this week. It's still going to be cool. It's not summer yet. I'm going to have a sip. Exactly. Kanpai.